With that, I would like to call to order this meeting of the Town Board of Northeast. Today is January 8th, 2026. It's at 7 o'clock. And I would like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tilly, could you conduct the roll call, please?
Yes, Supervisor Cannon,
Here.
Councilman Mayville,
Here.
Councilwoman Morrison, here, Councilwoman Winkler, here, Councilwoman Cole, here.
Okay. The agenda has been distributed and I would like to ask for a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're gonna try and get through these financials quickly. I have a budget adjustment number 10 for 2025. A fund, an expense increase of $7,487, less an expense decrease of $7,487 for net zero. In B fund, we have an expense increase of $1,063, less an expense decrease of $510, less a revenue increase of $553. And in DB fund, highway, an expense increase of $10,000, less an expense decrease of $10,000. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the budget adjustment.
So moved.
In favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Correct, dated this 23rd, 2020. $868.52, broken down as follows. A fund, $3,770.26. Highway fund DB, $11,098.26. Could I ask for a motion to approve, to accept the special abstract?
So moved. Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Sign that and pass it around. I have an abstract dated December 31,
They're keying the door.
totaling $72,464.38, broken down as follows. A fund, $16,643.98. B fund, $2,323.89. DB fund, $53,376.51. TNA two escrow, $120. I'd like to ask for a motion to accept the abstract.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And one last abstract dated January 8th, 2026, totaling $68,466.44, broken down as follows. A fund, $67,789.05. B fund, $387.62. Payroll T and A, $289.77. Could I have a motion to accept the abstract?
Is this supposed to be on?
So moved.
Who was that? This is the agenda. Who made the motion?
I did. Who's second?
And seconded by Lana. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The voucher committee for February is Lana Morrison and Michelle Cole. With that, I'm gonna move right along and get to the budget hearing. Before we open the hearing, I would like to review and summarize the steps the town has taken to get where we are today. This zoning update began with the most recent town and village comprehensive plan, which was adopted by the town board on November 14th, 2019. The plan included as part of its action plan implementation, the following, and I quote, "A zoning update committee would be formed to take the recommendations from this comprehensive plan and work with a consultant and or attorney to draft new language to update the zoning and subdivision laws." Unquote. The current zoning code was adopted in the mid-1970s, half a century ago, and has been updated occasionally since by way of local laws to address specific issues. A complete overhaul of the code is an ambitious undertaking. So with the help of our planning consultant, Will Agresta, we decided to do this in two parts. The objective of part one was to focus primarily on the commercial districts in our town. Some aspects of the residential zones, as well as the land conservation zone, have also been included. However, this draft does not contain an in-depth revision of the residential and land conservation districts.
There's chili.
What is that? All right, all right. Well,
There's Tilly. Tilly's wearing a mask.
Excuse me, you're on speaker. Can you mute yourself?
All right, we're going to,
Out of mute.
that's. No, that was, you know. Okay. What?
That's pretty, okay.
Yeah. Okay. This draft does not contain an in-depth revision of the residential land conservation districts in the town. These districts will be reviewed and revised as part two of the zoning review process for the town of Northeast, which we intend to begin later this year. We began the part one process in the fall of 2020. A zoning review committee was established by the town board and chaired by Edith Greenwood, a member of the town's ZBA. The committee included among its members several former town supervisors, the chair of the town's planning board, and the chair of the ZBA. The committee held over 90 meetings over the course of 4+ years, working with Will Agresta and outside legal counsel, and completed its work on November 14th, 2024. The process then moved to the town board, whose role it was to go over these revisions of the town code in public working sessions with Edith Greenwood and the town attorney, and make whatever changes it deemed appropriate. The town board completed its review on November 4th, 2025, at which point the revised draft code was posted on the town's website and referred to the town's planning board and to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development. Comments have now been received from both. The next step was to hold one or more public hearings on the draft code revisions. At a meeting held on November 13th of last year, the board set and noticed this public hearing for January 8th of this year, today, to receive and consider comments from the public. Following the completion of the seeker review, the town board will consider all the comments it has received and make any further changes or additions to the draft it feels are appropriate. Before giving its final approval, all changes to this draft will be made available to the public and considered by the town board. Significant recommendations in these draft regulations include: 1, creating purpose statements to align with the 2019 comprehensive plan. 2, consolidating the boulevard districts and overhauling the permitted uses, as well as the lot area and bulk standards for this important area within the town. 3, permitting housing in the boulevard districts, in addition to commercial, retail, and service uses. 4, expanding and updating the definitions in our code, primarily those relating to the commercial districts, but including some others that needed to be updated. 5, revising, updating, and expanding the types of uses permitted in the commercial districts. 6, revising and updating both general and supplemental use standards. 7, putting the use and bulk standards for the entire town, for all districts, residential and non-residential, into chart form, thereby making the code much more accessible to users. 8, improving and updating design standards and site plan expectations for off-street parking, signage, landscaping, and exterior lighting. 9, providing an off-street parking and loading schedule, now in chart form, to provide standards that will help avoid excessive parking spaces and impervious pavement. 10, changing current procedures to clarify and streamline our land use approval process, while also updating them to reconcile with current New York town law standards. The next steps in this approval process of the draft code include the town board completing its seeker review of the draft code. If the town board determines that the revised code will not result in any significant adverse impacts, the town board closes the public hearing and takes final action as described above on the proposed zoning code revisions. If approved, the town clerk files adopted amendments with the New York Secretary of State and sends amendments to the E-code operation of the state for publishing. Before we open the public hearing, I've got one other item. At our reorganization meeting, which was held last week, we approved revised rules of procedure for the town, which include a change in the time limit for public comment to actually align ourselves with other towns in the county, like towns around us, from 5 minutes to 3 minutes. But lest anyone think that we're doing that in order to curtail comments here, I would like to ask the board for a motion to provide for a 5-minute comment period at this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
With that as background, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Meg.
Yes.
Okay, the hearing is now open. Welcome people who would like to address the board. I would ask you to stand, give your name, and if you would, approach the board so that the microphone and the owl can pick up your comments. And whoever would like to make comments, you're welcome.
My name's Tyler Graham. I would not like to make a comment at this time, but I would ask for a procedural clarification. So I'm confused. So this is just that people in the room here could make a comment, but that the board is not going to actually respond if they have a question.
This is the nature of a public hearing, which is we are receiving public comment from the public.
I've been in many public hearings and there's been back and forth. I've actually done it with the ZRC. I had great conversations with them. So that is a false statement that that's the nature of all public interactions.
Yes,
To my comments.
okay, state your name.
I'm Kathy Chow. I have two subjects. One is agriculture and the other is economic development. So the permitted uses right now, I'm talking about the charts at the end of the draft. So the permitted uses to me are inconsistent with promoting agriculture. Boulevard East and Irondale should allow farm businesses, including machinery, supplies, repair, et cetera, and even indoor farming. That's my opinion. There are also parcels in R1A and R2000. That's the teal and the blue that are actually big enough for small market gardens, like a few acres of vegetables is a legitimate business. Could be nursery, flower farms, even community gardens. And I think they would be a welcome addition around the village. And the inclusion of only 2 farm animals, caged poultry and pigs, in the chart seems arbitrary. So I'm wondering if perhaps all farming should be considered in the next round, which includes most of the residential farming. 2 comments about economic development. So artisan workshops could function in the way old workshops did. In other words, the shop goes in the front, a workshop, storage, shipping area in the middle, and living space in the back. It allows craftsmen flexibility and the ability to rent a single space and grow as their business grows. So you can imagine a bakery or a dressmaker, tech repair, or a pottery shop. Lastly, food could be encouraged in Irondale. It could become a hive of small industry if businesses like a deli or outdoor dining are located there. Would also capture the Route 22 traffic. And I think it's unrealistic to think that those employees or travelers would come to Millerton for lunch. I think it's just less business. So thank you. Thank everybody.
There's something in writing.
Sorry.
If anybody who speaks, excuse me, has something in writing, you can leave it with us and
I've given it to
Make a
Tilly
copy.
and I'm gonna email it to her, so she doesn't have to type the whole thing.
thank you.
Is there anybody out in the outer area who would like to make public comment?
Good evening, board members. My name's Ed Covert and I live on Cooper Road. First off, I'd like to thank the folks on the ZRC for all their hard work trying to improve our town. I feel it's just a shame that it had to be handed over to the town who added things that the ZRC didn't even address. I have a few problems with the town's zoning laws, old and newly proposed. Let's start with manpower. There's 2 part-time people that handle 4 jobs. Now the board wants to add more work for the zoning part of the jobs. Are there going to be additional hours, personnel assigned? The town has ignored the problem on Cooper Road for years and years now. I keep hearing the situation is complicated, which I feel is a load of bunk. The town won a lawsuit to enforce its laws. They won the appeal by the other party, and yet nothing has been done. Nothing. The party who owns the house has done all they can to thumb their nose at the town's laws and procedures. They have never even put in for any permits to work on the property, which isn't even owned by them. Heck, they've never even asked permission from the property owners to do any work. Complaints have been filed, and what's the town do? They put stop work orders on our property, so we can't even repair the damage that's been done to our property. Have they ever even been fined for anything they've done? Now they want to change and or expand zoning laws. How about this? Fix problems before you change things. And if the powers that be can't fix the problems because it's too complicated, how about stepping down and getting out of the way so we can find and vote in people who can get the job done? Thank you for your time.
Next, anyone else?
Yeah, Rich Stalter, I'm
Right,
a resident. I submitted comments in writing already. I'm not going to go over them again. I just want to take a moment to publicly thank Edie and the board for running a open and inclusive process. As chair of the CAC, I was invited in several times to provide input. And I went to some extra meetings, 90 meetings. Amazing achievement. I'd like to add one more public comment I've yet made regarding the accessory dwelling units. I respectfully ask that they not be allowed in LC. It seems to be we're trying to preserve natural features in on a lot that has an LZ area. It seems to try to encourage building on. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak?
There's someone in the hall. You're welcome to come in.
No, there's one more person coming in.
Okay, thank you. Hi, you're welcome to speak if you want.
I just walked in, this is regarding the zoning.
Yes, and if you're welcome to speak or listen to the speakers.
There's nobody else who wants to speak?
Where you can sit or.
No,
Um,
if you'd like to speak.
sure, sorry,
You're
yeah,
welcome to.
I just came in, yes, I do want to speak.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just got caught a little off guard.
I just want to ask one question. Is the camera here? I don't see the camera.
This is
Cameras
the
in
camera.
the.
Oh, it's right there. Okay. Thank you.
The video cam.
Well, I'm Kevin Webb, I live on Skunks Missouri Road, in the town, and, I just wanted to say that, I have done, my best to review this, to review the work, and I just think that the spirit of it is really good, and it seems like the product of a lot of very hard work, so, and I particularly think provisions related to accessory dwelling units are much better than the former provisions, regarding echo units, and, I think generally the spirit of trying to encourage development where it ought to be, and draw some lines about where we want growth in the town seem defensible. I think it's good. I think it was, I guess, again, I don't want to make the perfect the enemy of the good. I know that this can't be a perfect product, but I support it. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Just your name again.
Sign it.
Yes, would you like to sign?
That would be
Sure.
great.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Spahn. I live here in the village. And my one question was about the housing in the commercial area. Because my concern is that it not be a source of conversion to B and B use. And I don't know where the town and village are protected on that, so I just wanted to raise that as a question and hopefully be sure that it's covered in some way, because I support getting more housing, but I don't want it to be just for part-time, temporary people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Rob Cooper. Part of what I have to say is a question. Will this public hearing be closed tonight or will it go on?
Probably not.
Okay, so if
But
we
we
want to,
probably will recess it and continue it.
if we want to submit comments in writing, just to go on record,
Yes,
so.
and we're welcome. As I said earlier, we're receiving comments tonight.
Good. I just wanted to commend Edie and her board for all the hard work they did. Well, the time is tremendous amount of work. I can't even imagine the hours that were put into it. And I really like the fact that the setbacks are gonna be relaxed on the Route 22 North. That's gonna help a lot, because every time we had to build something there, we had to get a variance, yeah. And also on my property on the boulevard, I wanted to make everybody aware that there's a lot of deed restrictions already on that property set by the gas company that was there before. So I just wanted to list those deed restrictions so that, I don't want to be limited to doing nothing there. if anything ever happened to me, my family won't continue to have a museum probably. There's no income in that, so. I want to do something that produces some income. And there can't be any agricultural things there. There can't be any food preparation there. There can't be any residences there with the deed restrictions I have now, so. But I'll submit those. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Other comments? Anyone out in the vestibule? Comments? Who wishes to speak? No?
I'll make a comment. My name's Tyler Graham. I started St. Millerton.
Yeah.
Can you stand up?
Can you
please?
stand
Go to
up?
the front.
I started SaveMillerton.org because I grew up in a town that had similar zoning changes to this. I grew up there before. When it was septic and it got converted to sewer, I know the national standards on the amount that it should cost per parcel to add a sewage system to a town like this. The ones that we currently have are completely off the mark. And for 2 years, we've been asking for transparency, why zoning's not being enforced on Cooper Road, et cetera, et cetera. This whole process is completely flawed, in my personal opinion. The town notice that was sent out to everyone said that it was primarily non-residential. If anyone were to take the time over the holidays to read the 500 pages, it's all the changes are primarily residential versus non-residential. And if anyone has done basic 5th grade mathematics, it's very easy to see that. The FIF submission to the county said it's not residential, it's residential. All the questions so far before me have been residential, not commercial. So that proves the point. But the fact that questions can't be answered, and that as the founder of Save Millerton, I've reached out to both Ken and Edith Greenwood, and they've made all these statements that the statements that have been made by Save Millerton are false. They're misinformation. Ask for correction. No one's made corrections. So I think that tells you all that you need to know. And right before Christmas, Kenan sent out an email saying, there's a lot of updates that I could give you about the town, but it's the holidays. So I'm going to keep it to this. And but in reality, he sent all the taxpayers of our town a 181-page document that had to be verified with another 300-page document, and then another like 45-page FIF document to compare and contrast and see where all the changes are and what was happening. But our dear supervisor here doesn't have the time to give the updates that he said he could give to the town. But yet during the holidays, from November 18th to January 8th, we were all supposed to understand legalese. The reality is that there's a thing called the American Planning Association, and there's national standards set for this. Just like if anyone's buying a house or doing any kind of legal contract, you would want the before. Oh, we changed this. This is the after. This would be our new zoning code. And this is the explanation of why it's being changed. This town did not offer that. And it's not a law. It's not illegal to not do that. But it's actually how all towns across the country have been doing this since the late 80s or early 90s. And the reason they do that is because it prevents future lawsuits when it's done incorrectly. I've submitted a couple different correspondences to Dutchess County Planning because all of this has not been done correct to national guidance or New York state law. And this proceeding is like so inefficient. And myself and my neighbors have spent 2 years trying to figure out why the zoning's not getting enforced on our road. And from what I understand, the new lighting standards that are being proposed in the town of Northeast, which I've never like driven from here to Pine Plains and been like, I can't believe why this light's so bright, this, that, or the other thing. It's my understanding that these standards and other things that have been piled into this new zoning the lighting was just collected from Southampton, New York. Which has no relation to the town of Northeast or the rural character that the comprehensive plan states is the goal of the new rezone. And I could go on and on. But I do know that, like, for example, the quote unquote expert, Will Agresta, he's the planning manager down in Woodbury, Connecticut. There's an active recall against him right now. And I've also learned of some other legal complaints against him that I would assume that if those are correct, then these people didn't do any due diligence on Will Agresta. Additionally, this guy right here, the town attorney, has called me all kinds of names, said that I'm not allowed to ask the law, ask questions underneath the Constitution of the United States. And I got a big document from Pine Plains a couple weeks ago, 371 pages, where this guy sells a building covered in asbestos over to the citizens of Pine Plains. And as far as I understand, to the best of my knowledge, the citizens of Pine Plains don't even know that this guy pawned his building off. That's fine. I don't have anything else to say. This is like, this whole entire thing is a useless exercise.
Anybody else? Warren, we will be recessing the public hearing in order to be able to continue it. Is there a legal word?
Yes, we're going to continue the public hearing. I think we should just set a firm date tonight. I don't know whether you want to continue to do it in this room or.
Yeah, I
with,
think we will.
if everybody was satisfied with being
Yeah.
accommodated. We will not close the public hearing.
Okay.
Continue it to a date certain. And in the meantime, there are several substantive comments that were received, including comments from Dutchess County Planning and other comments from the public, which requires some review by us and possible consideration for changes in the code. So hopefully by the next public hearing, we'll have discussed internally those proposed changes and have that ready for the public to review in modified form, if that's how the board wants to handle it.
We can try to set a date for the continuation. I would like to suggest that we do that not as part of a regular town board meeting, because it really doesn't let us get the rest of the things we have to get done. And we could look at, I'm trying to think of days when as many members of the board are here as in town as possible. I think Tuesdays tend to work well for us from that standpoint. And would Tuesday be, let me see where we are.
We're out, well, that's not 2026, should we lift up that?
Is that
That's
That's 26.
Yeah, but you can't see February.
Yeah.
I think it has to be.
I think he's doing it this month.
I'm trying to
This is,
yeah, trying to see whether we could schedule one for the 20th.
We need time to review.
Yeah.
We need 20th of February.
No, January.
Whenever.
But we should be, I think we could use the, if we need,
Chris,
yes.
I don't think we're gonna be able to review all the written comments we got and then make changes and disseminate it to the public by that. I recommend we adjourn the public hearing to at least February.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I just have one additional question. I apologize.
Can you let us?
Well, but in your guys' comments in the newspaper, you guys keep saying there will be 3 other opportunities.
Can you just let us do our business, please?
Can you? Put it up in February.
Oh, we are.
Yeah,
16, 17, 18 were in New York, right?
right,
So,
right.
What is that?
That's
Yeah,
AOC Association of Towns.
we have our board meeting on the. Wait. Okay,
These are like in court on these Tuesdays, except for the first Tuesday.
What about the first Tuesday,
the third,
The third.
the third?
we have our normal board meeting on the 12th, right?
Let me just check, yeah, I'm free on the third. But I think we should meet internally before then, so we're probably gonna have to schedule a workshop meeting for the.
Yes, we can, we'll be able to do that. So we'll try for the third.
Yeah, that works.
We could do it earlier. We do it,
Whatever time, third is good, I'm free.
How much
Right.
time will they need? Do you know how much time we'll use? Of around,
Does 6 o'clock work?
I mean, I think for a public hearing, it will not be as, it will not take that long.
Yeah,
So 6 o'clock,
6 is fine with me.
Does this work with
6
you?
o'clock on the,
That
on
does.
Tuesday, February 3rd.
This isn't the workshop.
And then do we want to do the workshop on the 20th
In the meantime, we'll schedule
and talk about the
a
comments
workshop,
and?
yeah,
Yeah, let's schedule it.
and just let the public know that they can submit written comments and they'll be made part of the record.
Yeah.
So we'll set the workshop after this meeting. We
Yeah.
can do that later. Okay.
All right. With that, I would entertain a motion to continue the meeting, continue the public hearing on February 3rd at 6 o'clock.
So moved.
Second, oh, go ahead.
Motion by Rochelle and second by Meg. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Did we set the workshop?
Okay, we're gonna continue with the rest of our board meeting. You're welcome to stay for
Did we set?
that if you'd like to. The public hearing portion is over for now.
The workshop is-
Yes, and anybody who would like to submit written comments to the town clerk is welcome to do so. Department and committee reports. Our highway superintendent was under the weather today and asked to be excused. And our assessor does not have a report for us at this point. We've received reports from town clerk for planning, zoning, and building departments.
I also have to say that I filed a complaint regarding the gun club noise from Mr. Dave Decker that was written on Sunday afternoon, December 21st. And as tax collector, I've received the warrant to collect the taxes and I expect all the bills to be mailed the 15th, next Thursday, a week from today. They're due at the end of February.
I would just like to give a shout out to our town clerk tax collector because I've seen the immense box of tax bills that she has to start processing. And it is a very big job, and I know that she has done a very good job in past years, and I know will do a great job this year. Anything else for town clerk? Board committee reports. I don't know if we have any committee work at this point, but
I got an update from, I spoke to our Hudson River
okay,
Housing.
this is with regards to the housing.
Housing,
committee.
yes, sorry, yeah, housing. Is it okay?
Yes, Ed.
Yeah, so 2 updates that we'll actually publish when we have more info, but one will be, it was very successful, a agricultural gathering for farmers and workforce housing of farm agricultural. That was held a couple months ago. That's launched some other things going on, and one thing is called Growing Homes Pilot Nest Advocacy Fellowship. So we can post this opportunity for people to have opportunities on farms and housing and these kind of things. So we'll list that and who's actually applicable for these fellowships with housing. And then the second is, Hudson River Housing continues to look for warming shelters, which is off of housing for people that are homeless. And Red Hook had one, but it had to close. So there's some opportunities in Millbrook and a few other places, but we'll continue to see. I mean, even though we've had some bad weather, it hasn't been quite as brutal as some of the years. But this is something that Hudson River Housing will continue to try to do in our corner of Dutchess County, so people don't have to travel.
If we do get to some really, really, particularly cold weather, we have sent out a notice about warming shelters. The Legion has provided the American Legion as a warming shelter. It overnight requires somebody from the Legion actually to spend the night there, so it involves a little bit of preparation. And I don't know whether they are in a position to do that this year, but I will check with them. And that would possibly be a potential warming shelter.
And also, there is money at Hudson River Housing to help support manpower and support a warming shelter as needed. So they will work with our communities, whether it's church or American Legion or those things. It's an opportunity, and they have a specific person that deals with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know if we have any other committee reports, recreation, nothing, I think at this point. We've taken the cemetery committee off of the list of committees because Ralph is not here anymore. And Ralph was the one who kept us posted on what was going on up at Spencer's Corner. However, I promise you that I will keep the board informed of what is going on, because the work that has been done up there has been really spectacular. And I know we want to stay on top of that. With that, I think we don't have any other committee reports. With that, we have a resolution of approval of contract with Pine Plains for the dog shelter. The Pine Plains has provided a dog shelter for dogs that get picked up. And for a number of communities around us, use the Pine Plains shelter for that. They've sent us an agreement, and I would like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution for a contract with Pine Plains for the dog shelter.
So moved.
Second.
All right, do you want to do a roll call for that? Why not?
All right, Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler,
Aye.
Councilman Cole.
Aye.
Thank you for that. At this point, we have the opportunity for public comment on any matters that you might have, including the rezoning, but anything else. And if not, we'll move along to the approval of minutes from the meeting of, we had of December 11th, 2025. Minutes have been distributed, and I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I don't feel we need any further meeting with council at this time.
I have nothing for you.
So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much for coming out.
Yeah.
It's great to see us, the whole house, and it gives us an additional reason to get a new town hall.
Squeeze by you.
There you go.
I have it at the end.
Is this off? So, yeah.
Hi, Rashawn.
See you.
Well, just